All right, good morning. Welcome back. Bear down, everyone. And away we go again. This time we're going to do a little comparison of Williams and Mahomes because that's the big talk. But we're going to stem it from yesterday, my own observations. And I've been one of the most critical, if you want to call it that. I really call it analytical. I call it trying to dissect things to make sure we make the right decisions. I really try to put myself in the GM position. And watching USC's Pro Day yesterday, I was impressed. Now, I put that on social media. And there's still going to be people that argue either direction. It's just going to happen until we get to the draft, until we get the team set, and the team starts to gel and unify, and we go into the offseason, OTAs, mini camps, 90-man roster, cutting them down into preseason games and then into the season. We're going to have that. You're going to have people that are upset because we did take one of the most polarizing players we've had on this team. Whether you agree he was good or not, he was polarizing. Even in one of the worst records the franchise has ever had, he made it exciting for viewers, for fans to watch every single week. Well, he's gone, and so that leaves a little bit of controversy with fans. But really, Ryan Poles has already made his decision. He's put his staple on it, and that doesn't necessarily mean Caleb Williams. I'm going to be very clear there. He's made his decision that he's moving to a new quarterback where they start fresh with this new regime. And you might say, well, we didn't get a new coach. Well, that's true, but he's really a defensive-minded coach. He's a defensive side of the ball, but we really did overhaul the entire offense. And it really is a new regime, and they can work with a brand-new quarterback. And that's the point of where we're at right now. They've made the decision. We've moved on. So here we are. We're sitting here with a player that's had the word generational thrown out way too much. Is he generational? Don't know yet. We don't know yet. Nobody's going to know until it happens. In fact, Pat Mahomes was picked 10th overall with other quarterbacks going ahead of him. Nobody saw him necessarily as generational. They saw him as a good prospect, but not generational. And now here he is, truly generational. He is one of the greatest of all time, one of the top 5 by everyone, and even more debatably in the top 3 for anybody who wants to consider his status all-time already. And he's in a young career. He's only been in the league for 7 years. Well, this video stems from one I did comparing all 3 of these men with Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, and Pat Mahomes. But as we know, Justin Fields is out of the picture. So let's compare them. And from yesterday's Pro Day, I posted online on Twitter and different threads that we're talking through in the little short that I made. And I said he had a good Pro Day, a solid Pro Day. And, some people respond and react right off the bat. Well, what did you expect? There's no blockers, there's no edge rushers, there's no one coming, he's just playing catch with his friends in the backyard. 100% agree with you guys, I do. Really, the Pro Day is just for teams to watch the mechanics and to be able to see him in person, and he didn't disappoint. He did miss a couple of throws, but the biggest thing that I noticed after watching every single snap of him in college, which I've done, after watching every single one, watching him be loose and fluid without the pressure of the game there and flick his wrist, it does come out quicker. Now, there's some plays Justin Fields makes that make me ooh and ah, but he just looks natural and in rhythm. And for those who didn't know, Caleb Williams did his measurements there. He ended up being 217 pounds and under 6'1", which surprised me because at the combine, that was the big thing. Everyone was hooting and hollering over us. He's over 6'1". You guys are making too big of a deal of nothing. All right, so he's 3/4 of an inch shorter this time. It's still not the end of the world. When you see players like Drew Brees that have done it at an excellent level for so long, and they succeeded in the league in Hall of Fame caliber, it doesn't really throw too many red flags up as long as he's built like an NFL quarterback. He can think and process like an NFL quarterback. It's not the most determining thing. I do like an NFL-sized quarterback. I do. 6'4", 6'5" would be phenomenal. But long and short of it, he had a good Pro Day. I really did like watching him and his fluidity and his movement and the way that he released the ball, his timing. I did like it. I was impressed. And I was even more impressed, and then people even bag on this. I was impressed that in his post-interview, he wasn't being assumptive. He wasn't being cocky. He was being humble. And then people were like, oh, he was coached to do. Well, every single one of these guys is coached, guys. They're coached to put a persona on. He's interviewing for a job. And if you don't think everybody practices for a job interview, then they're probably not taking it seriously, which is good to see he's taking it seriously. So there's ways you can twist and finagle this any way you want. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams, and you might remember this is the video where I compared, and I didn't bring Justin's up because he's gone, but the entire team and what he had to deal with and the drop percentage and the contested catch rate. And people said, well, Pat Mahomes had to deal with worse. Well, no, he had more weapons. He did. He had more above average receivers. And so Pat Mahomes didn't have to deal with what Justin Fields dealt with. But let's look at Pat Mahomes. His adjusted completion percentage, 78.6. His poor pass percentage, 12.6. NFL pass rating, 92.6. Solid numbers. Pass grade by PFF, 81.1. So solid. But he had Rashee Rice, 3.7% drop rate, which is solid. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 9.4. That's on the higher end that I like. Sky Moore, 4.5, really came around in the year. Mecole Hardman came on really late in the year. Obviously had the Super Bowl winning catch, but Travis Kelce, 6.1% drop. Noah Gray, 3.4, really helped him out a lot. And then solid running backs as well. Well, I'm not bringing Justin Fields up, but look at the potential of what Caleb Williams could be. And if you tally up these yards on the right, it's already over 4,500 yards of the guys that we've acquired on this team. And that's not including Rome Odunze if we get him at 9. And this is just wishful thinking on my part, hoping for that rookie X receiver because we don't have one. But DJ Moore, 53.6% contested catches, 2.0% drop, lightning quick, 119.6 pass rating when targeted. Add Keenan Allen to that mix, and his 40 time is incomplete because in the combine 12 years ago, he was injured when he ran it. He ended up running a 4.7. Everyone knows he's quicker than that, and so it's incomplete on there. I don't know why they've never clocked him since, but 5.3% drop rate, 50% contested catch rate, 110 pass rating when targeted. We have two true number one receivers, one on the outside, one in the slot, but we don't have an X receiver. I'd love to see Rome Odunze right there. So that's my goal at 9. That's my dream. Then you've got Tyler Scott, Velus Jones Jr., and Dante Pettis, who are all very quick. And Dante Pettis didn't play last year because of injury, so I put 2022 in here. And those are his numbers from 22. Drop rate that I don't like. So all three of those bottom guys, they better be hitting the jugs machine. They know the issue. They know that they had bad drop percentages in the league last year. They know it wasn't good, along with as well as Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's gone, obviously, to Atlanta. But these three guys have an opportunity to have a big year with a rookie quarterback. So, and this is under the assumption Caleb Williams is going to be a Bear. Now, I've said it all along, ever since Justin Fields was traded, this is 90% happening. And I'm going to do another video of what it would take the Bears at this point to come off. Because at the Combine, it was very interesting to see Keenan Allen there. Now, we know Keenan Allen lives in L.A. at this point, and that's probably going to be moving, especially if we hammer out an extension, which I'm hoping will come sometime soon. But he showed up, and I immediately, like many of you, thought, I don't remember seeing a player go to a pro day like this. I don't remember that happening. DJ Moore didn't fly out. Well, he didn't live in L.A., but DJ Moore didn't fly out. There's Keenan Allen getting a head start. Why would he go to that pro day unless we really think the Bears are selecting Caleb Williams? Now, I don't think they've given him intimate knowledge. I don't think they've decided and said that yet because I really don't think the Bears are done yet. They're evaluating. That's why they were there. But there was a lot of brass there for the Bears. Everyone was there. And on top of that, you saw Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus and company right behind him while he's throwing and mixing and mingling with his coach from USC, with his dad. And afterwards, too many people are making too much of Caleb Williams coming over and giving Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus a hug afterward because he did it with several coaches. He also did it with Washington's coaching staff. He was making the rounds and giving everyone high fives, and he was chumming it up. So that wasn't anything crazy, but we did send the entire cavalry down there to witness and to see and analyze. But so did Washington, which was telling because they sent just as many people as we did. They still want that pick. Now, I'm going to do a different video on that because what would it take for us to come off of Caleb Williams at this point? I think it's pretty much a done deal, but every team has their cost. And we'll do a video on that separately, but I'm telling you at this point, the value of that number 1 pick has increased significantly. And Ryan Poles might want to take that pick, but if he gets to next week's pro day for LSU and sees Jaden Daniels and says, this guy is very close, he's really a 2, but it's right behind Caleb Williams, I really think we could build this. And Washington gives us 3 firsts and both their seconds this year. Now, I know you're thinking immediately, they'll never do that. That's a crazy overpay. I'm telling you, crazier things have happened. Herschel Walker trade, nobody expected that to happen. Alter the franchise forever. And if Ryan Poles is sitting there saying, I want Caleb Williams, but man, that's 3 firsts and 2 seconds, and we can still pick in this first round with the second pick overall, Jaden Daniels, and have next year's first and the year after's first. Now, that would only happen if it ended up being a draft day trade, so this could fly out up into the day of the draft. And heaven help all of us Bears fans for surviving this offseason if that's what happens. But we could end up with their 24, 25, and 26 first, both seconds this year and more. It could happen, guys. I mean, these are scenarios that still play out. That's why I say we're 90%. But if you look at this and you see what a quarterback's coming into, I mean, even on that same thread, you could say Jaden Daniels coming into this and having all of these weapons, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and I put an assumption of re-signing Mercedes Lewis because we only have 4 draft picks at this point, guys. And then Khalil Herbert, DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson. This is stacked. I mean, it truly is. This is stacked. And I'm sure Justin Fields is pissed off because he had to be the bridge quarterback to ride through it. And it happens. That just happens, guys. It does. And you can't sit and be pissed off about it. We just really, really need Caleb Williams to be him. We need him to be that guy. And I'm telling you right now, if he comes in and wins as many games as he should with this staff, with this personnel, with this offense, nobody's going to be chirping about Justin Fields. In fact, you might see those negative idiots who down talk him so much be even louder, but it's not realistic. I've done extensive analysis showing how he was improving and growing. But the point of this video is, well, if he can resemble Pat Mahomes with that flick of the wrist and how he's doing, then we're set up for years to come. So let's compare these two guys with their final year of college stats. Here's the Caleb Williams one. And what I really want to point out is I keep coming back to it because I've watched the Notre Dame game, and in my head what that does, and I'm sure it does it with a lot of you guys too, what that does is it gives me that recency of that, and it makes me worry because then after that, the rest of the season, I don't have the wins and losses on here, but the wins and losses weren't phenomenal either. And he struggled with some looseness of the ball. So he didn't look like the same, but really the first part of the year he looked solid, but also it was, some lower level competition, San Jose State, Nevada, some of those teams that he should have excelled at, and he did. So he had a good senior year. I wouldn't call it phenomenal. I would say it disappointed me. I've said that thoroughly on this channel, that I wasn't impressed that he had a regression year, and that's a big thing for me. As I did the analysis on Justin Fields, that was something that impressed me so much, was he kept improving year after year after year. And I like that. I like when a player takes progress and steps every year. It also doesn't just mean on the paper. It means to me they're a student of the game and they take this seriously. It's not just the next thing of their life, if that makes sense. It's their passion. It is what they want, and they're willing to sacrifice and go for it in every aspect. So I like that. And I didn't like that Caleb Williams had a regression this year. He won the Heisman, came back this year. He struggled through the rest of the season. Yeah, you can blame it on the defense. USC's defense did give up a lot of points, but he didn't win the games. He didn't. He didn't orchestrate those comebacks. He didn't orchestrate putting it all on his back and winning it all on his own. I get it. I get that there's a stigma to that, but he didn't. So he had a regression year. We look at Pat Mahomes' final year. It's pretty freaking solid too when you look at it. I mean, really, there's only a couple games that are lower and only one bad game, the Iowa State game. Other than that, he had a really good year. I mean, you look at those stats and they really jump off the page. He did make more attempts and more completions, but less completion percentage and more yards, obviously. So Pat Mahomes had a special year, but he wasn't deemed that guy in that draft class in 2017. In fact, you guys remember Mitch Trubisky. Those who don't remember, that's why I'm reminding you. He was the first off the board, second overall. Mitch Trubisky, the savior of Chicago, who, I was just as excited for, but didn't end up being Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes sat that first year behind Alex Smith, and away he went. But here's the comparison of the two in their final year. I've subtracted all the stats out and just put the bottom line down. So Caleb Williams had a higher completion percentage, a higher adjusted completion percentage, a higher NFL passer rating, a higher run grade, better touchdown to interception ratio, and a better offensive grade by PFF. Not by much, but he did. Pat Mahomes led in yards, which to me is not as big a stat. And he led in better passing efficiency, according to PFF. And his fumble grade was significantly better. Caleb Williams had better cut that crap out when it comes to the pro level. He's got to have the coaches hop on that at day one. But overall, in their senior year of college, Caleb Williams performed better than Pat Mahomes. It's not just what's on paper. When you watch them, when you watch Caleb Williams, he does have that motion. He has that flick of the wrist and that vision for the field. When he makes a decision, he goes with the decision fast. And he seems to have good instincts. And that's the thing that everyone talks about with all of this. That's what I see when I'm watching his tape. There's some things that worry me, holding the ball loose, and he does try to play hero ball. So some of those deep balls are misguided and not the right decision. But those are all things that are coachable. So I'm going to put these up here. I did it in the other video a long time ago, so this is stuff that we're recycling, but this is all the strengths and the weaknesses from Pat Mahomes and Caleb Williams. So I'm not gonna read through all these. I'll pause it so you can pause it so you can look through these if you want. But some of the biggest things that stuck out as you watch him: pro athlete pedigree, intangibles, good character, hard worker, competitor, good leadership. I like all those things. I like seeing that in the quarterback. And then here's Caleb Williams. Elite overall arm talent, put up ridiculous numbers in 22, pure athlete, loose-limbed and flexible. And that's one thing that stuck out to me and I noticed more is how much he does play loose. He plays like he's not panicked. And Justin Fields did play a little bit panicked at points, but he also had that ability to look like a panicked cat out there. You see the black cat at the baseball stadium, how they're able to avoid everyone. Like that was Justin Fields on the field. He could just zip, 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 zip. Like it was amazing to watch. And Williams doesn't quite have that same thing. But if you're looking at a quarterback, I don't necessarily need that as my primary thing. I need that flexibility, that instinct, that ability to do what Pat Mahomes does on the field, to pump fake and to be able to run it, or to be able to throw deep, or to be able to throw on accuracy and anticipation. So that's what we're all hoping for. Well, here's their weaknesses. Pat Mahomes' weaknesses: gunslinger who can be reckless with the ball, has some mechanical issues to fix, throws too many passes back across the field. Now remember, this is coming out of college. This is what they say coming out of college. Can sell deep balls too far, will need to learn working under center. Man, does this not sound familiar to Caleb Williams, guys? I'm alluding to it. You can see it coming. We will need to learn working under center. We'll have to work on footwork with making drops from under center. We'll need to learn working a NFL huddle. Will need to improve his footwork, needs development from a pro-style offense. College offense ran a lot of plays he won't run in the NFL. Needs to take more checkdowns. Needs to work on staying in and being comfortable in the pocket. That is T for T. Caleb Williams. So the dots are getting connected for me. I am seeing a lot more of it. And obviously Ryan Poles has seen these things too. But here's Caleb Williams. Doesn't have a prototypical size for a position, standing at just 6'1" and weighing at 215. Maybe an injury risk going forward, especially considering his play style. Okay. At USC, Williams plays in a simplistic offense mainly consisting of one-read concepts. He would perform in a traditional pro offense is uncertain. He has played exclusively in the shotgun. At the moment, he would be a work in progress as a drop-back passer. His mechanics are hit or miss, and his footwork needs cleaning up, although most of these issues are hidden by his arm talent. Williams tends to hold the ball loosely and away from his body, putting him at risk for strip sacks. Now, that's something different from Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes didn't have that issue in college. He's always protected the ball very well, which is such an elite level for him. He's very special when it comes to that and everything else. So is Caleb Williams to Pat Mahomes level yet? No, but he's going to be a rookie. So, I mean, there's only so much we can say on that. But ultimately, this is what we want it to bring. This is where we want this to go. And so I put them in the middle there, but there are some other options the Bears have. We could draft someone else, but really it comes down to this and that trophy on the right, what we want. And if Caleb Williams can can bring us Pat Mahomes style stuff and meet him in the Super Bowl and dethrone him. I mean, that happens all the time. You have that next guy that comes up, and I don't know, is this the 2020 class where there's 3 solid quarterbacks at the top, and all 3 of those guys are going to shine? Or I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like 2021 at this point. I don't think anybody knows. But what I do know is there's a basis for the comparison of these 2 guys. And it's not fair to Pat Mahomes at this point to compare Caleb Williams to him, but all we can do, like I'm doing in this video, is compare them pre-NFL to each other. And there are some similarities. So we're going to say that. The way that they play out of the backfield, the way they play off platform, the way they play across the field, the way that they get the ball out, the way they fire it down there and make decisions and flick it. I do see a lot of similarities in them. So I'm going to give that on this one. We are going to do some other comparisons. We still got a month before the draft, but I am going to give that comparison. And guys, there's reason to be optimistic. So I want you to be optimistic. Let Justin Fields go and be optimistic. All right, so I am going to be on the Nomad Network here early afternoon. Those who don't know, check out their channel. Just type in Nomad Network. I'll be on there. I am going to take a little more time off coming up. I know I'm doing the daily videos, and I love doing the daily videos, and I love this. It's a passion of mine. But I am going to head over to Arlington for the Cubs season opener next week. I'll try to get some stuff out as much as I can with LSU Pro Day and all that. But we'll keep pumping and grinding it out. Got some family stuff this weekend, but I appreciate, the point of that is I want to appreciate all of you guys who tune in. You are the best fans, Bears fans, period. And I love that you guys like to enjoy this with me and enjoy the content and be able to interact. It's a lot of fun for me. So I just want to let you guys know that we're leading up to the draft. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a live draft show, and I hope my reactions are the right ones because we pick players that I'm excited for. But this guy does give me reason for excitement. I'm disappointed we're missing out on the Hall. That's not completely out of the question yet. I am disappointed in that, but I do appreciate that we have, guys, we have the number 1 overall pick. Teams that move on from a quarterback don't usually have that. They have to trade up for it. So we're not trading future draft capital for this. Next year, we're stacked in our draft as well because we got 2 second-rounders, 2 sixth-rounders. We're actually at I get it. The 6th-rounder doesn't matter that much, but we're pretty stacked. So this team has a bright, bright future, and we have a huge opportunity this offseason, and I'm excited where we're headed, and I hope more than anything that these 2 guys end up being very similar because we deserve it in Chicago. We deserve that trophy in our hands and the parades and the fun that comes with it and being on top of the world. We deserve it. So with that, hope you guys have a wonderful day and bear down.